Do you want to get into Ducktales?
I do believe that it is high past time we got in to some DuckTales, specifically that final episode, The Last Adventure. Lay it on me, baby.
First off, I just want to say, don't be sad that it's over. Smile because it happened.
Oh, God.
Because damn, that was a good, good, good fucking series, and I really want to see more of that caliber from Disney, which I imagine we will, because they're doing pretty good in the animation department.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Like,
but let's get.
I
Well,
mean,
you finish first.
I, I just want to say I fucking bawled like a baby at the end. Like it didn't really hit me until the credits started rolling and I full on just started like tearing up. Like I was not ready to see this show go.
I completely understand.
Like it's one of the few
I
series I actually kept up with from start to finish.
same. But it was just so great seeing all these characters just kind of like dropping in and giving like their sign off in their own special way, especially Darkwing, Launchpad, and Goslin.
Yes, that was such a fun moment.
Yeah. Also, I love that Fenton tried to convince Drake, listen, I am Gizmo Duck, but it's just like, nah, he's really gonna just be oblivious about it, buddy. I'm really sorry. But
He
I mean,
just
like that was always kind of the shtick, though. Darkwing Duck could never figure out that his friend Fenton Crackshell was fucking Gizmo Duck, even though he didn't hide it very well.
no, God no. And I love this series that actually lampshaded that whole thing where it's just like, look, in the real world or even this cartoon world, in an updated version of it, anybody with sense would immediately figure out that Fenton is Gizmo Duck.
Go to establish that Drake doesn't really have a lot of sense.
No. And I'm kind of glad for it because honestly, when we were first introduced to Drake in this series, I was fearful that they were making him far too smart, and I'm happy to see that was not
I
the
did like the
case.
idea that Bradford Buzzard was what was what?
Hmm?
Say it again.
I didn't say anything.
Okay. I like that Bradford was Isabella Finch's grandson, and that he was terrible at being a junior woodchuck. So he decided to devote his whole life to destroying adventure. And it's just like, wow, that's pretty villainous. Like you want to deny being a villain, but that's a villainous motive right there, bro. Like I want to get rid of all fun.
Right. That's some codename Kids Next Door level shit right there.
Yeah. And then he got his hands on the sword of
Swanstantine.
Constantine, and god damn, that armor was actually kind of sick that he got. That armor was actually pretty
Dude.
fucking dope.
Dude, when that armor came on, I'm just like, oh man, are we really just gonna have two old guys fighting as the finale? And then he brings out the sword and he gets the armor, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? That is so metal. I cannot even stand it.
I agree. I totally agree. That shit was fucking awesome. And I love how Black Heron even mentions like just before he kills her, like straight up kills her, just wipes her out of existence. It's like how villainous of you. Like I dead ass think that when he acts villainous, she tries to fuck him, and he's just like, no, I don't want this.
I'm not gonna
I mean,
lie because I don't know about you, but during this season, I don't know what the animators were on, but they started animating her sexy as fuck. I'm sorry, man, but I was thirsting for Black Heron for a while there.
That's fair, bro. That is total. Listen, she honestly gave up the vibe like she was really thirsting for Bradford of all people, and that took me by surprise.
Oh yeah, this chick totally gets off the villainy. There's no denying that. Like it was
Huh.
kind of weird because like that moment that I'm talking about where they started animating her all sexy like was that flashback where you see her talking to Bradford for the first time, and the way they animate her moving and posing and this and that, I'm just like, animator stop, animator stop, what are you doing? No, no, no.
Well, no, I'm erect. Thanks, animators. So I like the interesting take they did with Webby having two sisters. I also
Mm.
like that they decided to make their names April, May, and June because why the fuck not? Also, Webby being Scrooge's daughter came completely out of left field, but I mean, I don't hate it.
All right, so do you want the long, complicated history of April, May, and June?
I would love the long, complicated history of April, May, and June.
Okay, so let me educate you something, nephew. So, we had the characters of April, May, and June created, I don't fucking remember when, because it was in a comic and it's hard to pinpoint that kind of shit down. But these characters were introduced as the nieces of none other than Daisy Duck.
What are the odds?
Yes. And so, much like the triplets, it's just because it's the thing they always do. I think they tried to do that with Mickey too, but it never caught on. But when it came time for Ducktales, they were going to include April, May, and June, but felt that two sets of triplets would be a little too odd. And so they crammed them all into one character and made the original 87 version of Webby. And so with
So they
this,
just
hmm?
I was gonna say so they just kind of like incorporated that into being a thing, but I'll let you finish.
Well, you're not wrong because ultimately that's what I'm saying. It's just like they've basically made it so that you know that we still have that Webby and we also get April, May, and June at the same time, but also made it in a way that kind of takes out the contrivance of just up and having another set of triplets. And it's just like, well, there's always that thought that, you have twins or triplets and quintuplets and all that, and they kind of come off as clones in certain situations, so why not make them actual clones?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever actually, just because well, let me rephrase that. I thought it was a clever usage because we never actually got any sort of insight on Webby's parents. And I thought that we were eventually going to get that, especially when Mrs. Beakley starts talking about it. And then it turns out, nope, that wasn't true. Webby's a clone, as are the other two girls. They're all clones. So it's just like, oh, all right then. I, I I'm okay with it.
Well, honestly, I like it because it does kind of explain something that was always very interesting to me, and that's the weird closeness that Webby has always wanted with Scrooge. It's not that it was a bad thing, it's just that she really wanted to be close to Scrooge in some capacity. And it always
She
felt,
really did just want to be a member of Clan McDuck when you
yeah.
think about it. She was such a huge fan of the McDucks, and it's just like, Oh, I wish I could be a member of this family. Well, congratulations, Webby. You are.
And it feels like the ultimate reward, though. But at the same time, it's the thought that has been brought up so many times throughout the season and throughout the entire series. It's just like when it comes to family, it's just like, yeah, family is blood, but that's not all family is. Family is friends and the relationships that you have with people. Family is emotions, it's caring, it's love unconditionally. So I love that message as well.
Yeah, that was so great. Now, too bad I can't figure out how to make that shit happen in my own life.
It's easier said than done in a lot of situations. Not to
Uh,
mention, they made sure that it was very obvious. Yes, family is a great thing, but it can also be a pain in the ass.
yeah, yeah, it really can.
uh, oh, what else? How did you feel about the incorporation of the villains in all of this?
Honestly, it was pretty great seeing like everybody from Fowl just um more or less getting what they deserve. I especially love the fact that Steelbeak went up against Darkwing Duck and Gizmo Duck because it's just like this is the character. This is the only character from like the original Darkwing Duck show that we um more or less haven't seen fighting Darkwing Duck.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they brought back like all of his classic villains, the Liquidator, Crackerjack, Megavolt, and even Bushroot. And they listen. They managed to make Bushroot terrifying. Bushroot was not terrifying in the original Darkwing Duck cartoon. Bushroot felt more like a plant-based annoyance, if you ask me. He was terrifying in this series.
Well, it kind of helped, and it's also kind of fortunate that they had no choice but to make him silent because his voice actor had passed away.
Mm,
But
that's sad.
well, they at least gave him some proper service.
That's good. Um, I mean, this is one minor gripe. I kind of wish they could have brought Negaduck back for a Darkwing Duck episode, but that's fine.
Yeah, that is true. It really did feel like they were kind of setting up a Darkwing Duck spin-off series, and the fact that this crew isn't doing that is probably the biggest shame of 2021.
It's so criminal. It's so fucking criminal. They could have made such a good fucking Darkwing Duck. Oh, and they were basically like setting up to like get that spin-off going, and then
Yeah, it is what it is, my friend.
but I will say this last bit about DuckTales. It was really great to see everything come together in like one of the most satisfying ways possible. Everybody really had like their character arc and their moment to shine, and it was everything I could have expected it to be. I love this series to bits, and as much as I wish I could see more of it, what I got was fucking amazing. So I'm not even complaining.
I mean, hell, one of your wants for the end of the series did come true. We had that great moment with
Yes,
Gantra and Gizmo Duck.
bro. Listen, I wanted them to at least resolve that because I understand that Negaduck was probably never going to come back in this series, but Gandra was a plot point, and she was um what's her connection to Gizmo Duck made her more or less an important character, important enough that if something happened to her and we got no resolution on it, people would be livid. They'd be just like, "Why did you forget about her? What the fuck, bro? Why does Why does Gandra D have to die? Especially when you made her cool. Like the old Gandra D wasn't like this.
Nah, she was essentially like, well, kind of like Jessica Rabbit, but not as cool.
You mean not as sexy and or slutty?
All of that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was. She was cool. She was fun. You could really get where she was coming from on a lot of things. It was a
Yeah.
nice send off, and the fact that they basically spent the remainder of the episode all over each other was also kind of cute.
Yeah. It was so great.
Yeah, got.
That's all I got for DuckTales.
Yeah. Well, I also wanted to mention with this episode, they also managed to incorporate every Disney afternoon show up until this point. You had Tailspin with Kit and Molly, I think was the name.
Yeah.
We had the
They
Rescue
had the Rescue
Rangers.
Rangers,
hmm We had a little bit of the Gummy
Darkwing
Bears
Duck.
formula from that old show.
Oh wow. They referenced Goof Troop.
Yes, exactly. And did you catch the?
And they referenced Gargoyles with Keith David as Manny,
Yes,
the fucking headless man horse of the apocalypse. I love how he's
yes.
just like, "Why people change? I just want to live a normal life."
That was the thing I had to talk about because I'm just like, wait, Keith David, what? And then we
Yeah,
had that moment where you hear the music playing and he sprouts
like
the
the
wings.
transformation sequence.
Oh my god.
That shit was fucking great.
It was so hype, and I'm just like, I wish I had recorded my reaction because I was freaking out at that moment. I was straight up losing my shit because it was just like, they madmen, they did it, they worked gargoyles into this. I can't believe it.
And they did it all the way from the beginning of the goddamn show. That's the best fucking part.
Exactly.
Manny was in, Manny was introduced in the very first episode, and it's just like, you know, every time he appeared afterwards, you just laugh because it's like, ah, there he is again. Until eventually, you just became familiar with the character, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, he's just there. He's not hurting anybody.
hmm And to find out it was this long con, more or less. And I really have to find out from the creators or something. It's just like, did you plan this from the beginning? Because if you did, bravo, I never would have saw it coming.
Either that, or they were just like, you know what, we, where can we make this happen? Like, I would have nothing but like I would have so much more respect for them if it was like just a long con for that joke. But if they decided we can fit, can we do this joke? Actually, yes, we can do this joke. Let's do this joke. Let's fucking do this joke.
It's like the show's ending. They can't stop us at this point.
Basically,
A lot of shows do that, where it's just like, well, we're ending, so
yeah.
but yeah, that was the last thing I really could talk about. I like the fact that May and June are basically going on the cruise around the world with Donald and Daisy because it's just like, man, he
Donald
managed to
deserves that cruise.
right, like he raised these children for 10 goddamn years of his life, really put himself out there. Della tries her best to be like family, 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 and it's just like he more or less has a family now. Between you know Daisy and now the two girls he is a very traditional family at this point.
Alas. And you know what? He deserves that.
Oh yeah.
Donald has been just I Donald has been one of my favorite parts of the series. Even like, obviously he doesn't show up in as many episodes, but when he's there, it's just like it makes me happier to see him because he's trying to be a good uncle, and in a lot of ways, he dead ass succeeds, and I'm
Right.
just so happy to see that.
I mean, it really does make up for the fact that in the original series, the only time you saw Donald was with the fact that he was going out to, you know, rejoin the Navy, or he had another tour or something like that. So to actually have him so deeply involved in this side of the series was really fun. It was really nice.
Yeah. I
Also, how did you feel about Della as a whole?
love Della. I really do. I love that like she's, pretty much about as childish as the boys, but she's learning to be responsible like Donald. So she's kind of like that middle ground we need from like the two extremes, realistically.
Mm-hmm. Like,
I also love seeing like her development as a character throughout the series. We didn't get that much of it in the third season, but man, I was all over Della's arc in season two.
yeah, it really was a situation where, they took this character who was such a non-entity. Like, at most, when we originally were introduced as to Della as a concept, was basically the boys being left on Donald's doorstep with a note saying the boys have managed to place a firecracker under their father's chair and he is in the hospital now. So you take care of the boys while I look after my husband. And that was it for the longest time.
Damn, she just dumped her kids on her brother because they put a firecracker under her dad's chair. Damn. Damn.
I mean, they referenced that with the first adventure, with it being Della and Donald who did that to their father.
That's right. They did that to Hortense's husband, so she dumped them on Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
It's such a I,
That's
that's also the greatest thing because it's just like there's these little Easter eggs here and there. It's like you don't have to know the backstory to all of this stuff, but if you do, it's such a treasure trove of little winks and nods to all this old Ducktales lore. And I really am going to miss that because I love series that do this. It's why I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so much. The references just blow me out of the water every time.